Hello. Hey, Jim.
Hey, mate.
Jim's heaps happy to be here. All right, so this is the relaunch of the Three Kings / Wealth Cartel podcast. We'll keep it calling the Wealth Cartel podcast because we're going to start rebuilding the community of wealth-minded individuals. Just to recap, the Wealth Cartel brand or idea is about finding that balance between your wealth, right? So your money, obviously you need money to do things, your lifestyle, so making sure you're enjoying life, and also your health and your happiness, right? I think those three things balanced well create pure fulfillment in your life. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to start, Nikki, looking at me for?
I know what it looks
What do I do with my hands? So we're going to start interviewing a lot of people in the Three Kings community, clients, partners, mostly with business owners, but not always, and just get them in to talk about their journey and what they've learned and their education and the big key takeaways they've got to sort of move forward. And today I thought, practice what you preach, would start with ourselves. So Jem thinks she's on here getting grilled. I think it's the first video.
I'm such a natural. Obviously, I'm really in my comfort zone.
Loves it.
Yeah.
She's an actress. So can you look half happy? Your eyes just went like.
Well.
So then we've got Gem in here with me today. We're going to talk to each other, just a conversation about our own journey, because like I said, we always practice what we preach, and I'm pretty proud of I guess the stuff that we've done, the growth that we've had. Maybe we can pull some nuggets out of here for you today, some lessons to go from there. So welcome to your first podcast, Gem.
Thanks.
How happy on a scale of 1 to 10 happy things are you?
I don't want to talk about it.
No? Wow. It's going to be fun. All right. So
go.
I think what I want to talk about the most here on this episode is, I guess, how I want to talk about our journey, right? So talk about our journey from, I guess, the start, like as in, 2000 and what year was it that we started dating? 13. I was in the military. You were just a little receptionist, and all the way now to running a pretty successful business with a family, going from there. Give everyone a bit of a background into you. So just quick stuff about yourself, where you grew up, how you grew up, and where you are now.
All right. So I was an army brat. My dad was in the army. We didn't move around that much, but I mainly grew up in Townsville. And that's where Ryan and I met.
What were you doing?
I was working for a kitchen company as receptionist, and then I moved up from there for the kitchen design. That's kind of where that stuff comes in. Then is that it for that part? And then you got into the finance world then, and then we made our way down to Brisbane. And we had some struggles in Brisbane. That's kind of where we really kind of learnt for ourselves about money, because it was our first struggle. I think
it's important for people to understand that was the stage that I went from being in the military to the first, I was in the stage that all you guys are in now, which is all about trying to make money for the sake of making money.
But also you went from living comfortably and easily. I'm not saying that you had it easy in the army, but the benefits and the pay pack and everything, security was a very comfortable life. And I had like my weekly income from my reception job, which wasn't amazing, but for my age and everything like that, it was pretty standard. Plus my family was there, so that's security as well. And
neither of us really had any ambitions, I guess, to be entrepreneurs and stuff. Like,
no way.
We were happy just being secure, both from pretty steady families. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, big King Kong comes in and wants to try and change the world, make millions. And yeah, you're right. We especially that Brisbane period, we went through some struggles where we had finance struggles. Like this is before I was really deep into the finance stuff. I was just trying to earn it. And
it definitely rocked the boat, but without sound cliche, if we didn't go through that stuff, we literally wouldn't be where we are today. Not as a financial, but as people, obviously, go through things and things work out that way. So so then we had Brisbane. We were only there for about a year, maybe just shy of a year, then down to Sydney. And that's kind of that was more that was kind of better for everyone. Then we had your family here, your finance career path was a bit more mapped out, and I had a better job, same company, but kind of better role and things like that. So then for financially, income wise, things started working out better, and then we were able to kind of.
But we went. That's when that's what I'm like. So before that, my finance journey was just selling insurance. So it wasn't finance. It was just trying to take commissions and make money. And then when we got to Sydney is when I started studying financial planning properly, and we started budgeting. And we started doing all the stuff and so what you guys can understand, we were in debt. Like we were in some heavy debt, credit card debt, that kind of stuff.
Income wasn't great.
It was actually pretty poor, but started studying and learning all this stuff that I passed on to you guys, and within a year we were in front. Like we went from being heavy debt, bad, terrible habits, started creating the budget structures, started doing all that stuff I do now still, and within 12 months our life went from being fucked really to
it was
really
rough.
good.
Brisbane was rough, but it
showed the consistency of the simple stuff, getting on the same page, aligning your values. It's like I said, I felt like leaving Brisbane, we're in a world of hurt. Like I thought we're never going to get out of the hole we're in. I thought it was inside 12 months we were in front.
Even things like not from a hiding it from your point of view, but like for example, credit card debt. I didn't even know we had the credit card because you had there keeping us afloat, and we didn't even really discuss finances much at all. Like I would pay the rego or the electricity bill, whatever, when it was needed, not having anything saved for it. And it was just simple things like that. Then once we started to have the conversations, we laid everything out. We decided that we wanted to blend our accounts and everything as well. So like we still had separate little side accounts as well, like I think for our debit cards or whatever. So you don't have to always blend everything.
No, we just ran all that joint bills and joint goals were together, and then we had our separate luxuries and separate savings for things that are on our own. Because we're still early on, we weren't engaged or anything at this point.
So that's what we did. And then from there, fast forward a little bit, then we did decide to kind of blend absolutely everything. But now we've changed things a little bit since we changed our
now we just separate luxuries.
Yeah, but that's good. Like before we kind of we didn't.
So there was I guess it's important to clarify. There's a point where like we had to merge our stuff I needed some accountability from Gem, but we also needed to have viewership of each other's stuff kind of thing to make sure we're on track. And we went sort of the full blend way where everything was together, which was cool. And then only recently we sort of realized we're like, let's split our luxuries up again, because I like to take Gem on a date and feel like I'm paying or whatever, little niceties like that. Or just to spend on my own things, because as our income grew and I guess we got more money to put towards that stuff as well, that builds up. You don't really spend it all the time.
No.
Like I think, like I said a post the other day where I had like almost $1,000 in my luxury account. That's never been the case. Usually I want to spend it all, but with COVID and business and everything, it's not there. So
and we've got that luxury now to be able to have that luxury.
And I think it's important in this relationship. I'm the spender, Gemma's the tight ass, right? She's always been the tight ass.
She's always been that way.
Always been that way. So the other reason we did the split luxuries was I wanted Gem to finally feel like, because she's so selfless that she'll spend $600 on me, no stress, and then won't spend $20 on herself. So I wanted to separate, and this is where the psychological stuff, I wanted to separate those accounts so that she felt like that was her money and she didn't feel guilty. So I can span her over here. Still, then got into I don't want my luxury account to $500,000. I was like, it's a spending account. Like she was treated like a savings account. But yeah, we started, I guess the other thing was, we started, instead of partying or doing that kind of stuff, we started traveling. We started, we did Europe, we did Thailand. Like we started doing things that we did Hamilton Island, did things that really fulfilled us. That was good.
Got married, had a kid.
I got married, had a kid. That was a lot less expensive than I thought. But I guess across that journey, something that was important, like we grew a lot. You grew a lot, especially financially, because you never really cared about money. You just sort of saved it and were good with it in that sense, but you never really focused on your growth and stuff. But we've now, gone from where we started with now. I think that's important that throughout my finance journey, never did I want to start my own company. And through just being miserable at where I was, probably the worst time in our life, which was prior to the wedding or post-wedding, I was like, fuck, I'm going out on my own. And we had quite a bit of money in savings at the time. So we were looking for a house and that kind of stuff. And we both agreed and decided that we're going to invest it in the business. And definitely went through some ups and downs. I lived on one income for the last 3 years. But what do you think? Where has it gotten us? Do you think it's paid off?
Oh, for sure. It was hard at the time. I can definitely be a yes man when it comes to things like that, out of like, optimistic perspective, because I'm like, yeah, it'll be sweet,
Stress out of this.
And then when it comes to the front, I'm like, oh my God, like what's going on? So like it definitely has paid off. The struggles way at the start. The struggles way at the start, and then it comes down to a bit of the unknown. Like it was always going to pay off. Yeah. Like especially whatever you've always done, you put your heart and soul into it, and it's paid off. Even in the struggles of Brisbane, it was still kind of going that way. It just wasn't really the right path, obviously. And then we've never struggled, even living off one income. We've never struggled like Brisbane days. So I think I kind of dip back into that and kind of compare things to that a little bit. It was never like we were close to living on the streets. Like we were always going to be okay, even in Brisbane, but it wasn't great times, and we knew we could both do better. So
100%. And I think the biggest thing, like we probably, between Brisbane and I guess starting the business, we probably ended up on similar incomes, but the outcomes were totally different because we had purpose and drive, and communication, I guess, was the biggest one. We actually talked about it, and you got to understand, guys, we did not stress. Like I stressed last week, I was stressed. Like we still stressed, but having that plan, being able to sit down, like Gemma literally just booked back in to we review our financial plan every quarter. Sometimes I just do it if there's no big changes, so that I don't have to fill Gem's head with stuff. But Jem said to me last week, I really want to sit down and talk about our wills a bit more and stuff like that. So, we're booked in to go. We're going to redo the whole plan again. Because I think it's important. Gemma's not very ambitious goals-wise, never set goals and stuff. Yeah. But having CJ and stuff like that, she's starting to see goals that she probably want to label as goals before, like want to be able to provide. Want to be able to provide for his schooling, for him, his future. Want to be able to make sure everything, like they're goals. They're things that we can put in and prioritize.
Yeah, that's probably one of my biggest things, which we've slowly figured out, is I perceive goals.
Like $1 million.
The title, no. The title goals it means different things to me and you.
Yeah.
So I see things that I want to do as things that I want to do, not goals, even though that's what they are. I don't know. I just,
goals are just a checklist.
Labeling it that way like tweaks my head a little bit. I can't really explain it.
But I think the other part is that, with how, the big growth that we've kind of gone through now is that like we still don't earn, well, this year we did, but we still don't earn crazy money or anything like that. But just one thing that always stands out to me is the amount of time that we've both been able to be home with CJ as a kid.
Oh,
like you can't put a price on that.
It's like for both of us, that's like unheard of. No. COVID or not, like it's like even being home, you have the flexibility in between clients to come down to see him or like look after him for like full days, some days of the week. Like, it's.
And people say you guys are so lucky, and fuck off we are. Like remember, like I gave up like $250,000 a year, right, to work to come and do this for nothing. So there was a cost behind it, but we weren't lucky. Gemma's got a job that she does, but she can do from home and get jumps out on the road. I started my business and brought it back into the home office so that I could be home. Like we struggled to be able to provide that for ourselves, but we wouldn't change it for the world. It's definitely nothing. Now, fast forward to today, something that's pretty cool is one of Gemma's goals over the last 2 years has been to be more involved in Three Kings. So we actually launched Three Kings just to see her get off the ground. Always was going to be a family affair. And Gemma's recently taken over the bookkeeping, which is pretty cool, but we've got her a bit more involved, on top of all the other 1,000 jobs she does. She works full time in another job and she does this doesn't affect her existing job, so that's fine. But she does the bookkeeping. She actually does the marketing and stuff as well. That's something that we're really important. I want to know, how has your vision or your view changed, or your goals, or just your mindset about money changed as being now that's more ambitious than you've ever been, right? It's you said to me the other day, it being yours, it being part of it. Like,
I I've done little things on the side like cookies or interior design stuff, whatever. To me, that was never to really make money. It was just something that I wanted to do on the side.
Yeah.
Yes, technically it was my little side business, but it was obviously never anything like the Three Kings business. So I've never really said, yep, I want to do this and make my own business and company from it and do that full time. So everything aside, like one day, yes, I'll work for Three Kings full time, but I've never up until now, and it's definitely something I want to do and will do, but I've never thought about doing it. So I've never really thought about what that would mean to me. And now slowly coming into that, it just blows. Like, I've taken so much ownership of different things that I do. And the other day you asked me if you wanted me to like offset one of my tasks to someone else, and I was like, no, like that's mine, like that's now I can't delegate. So what was your question again?
How has that changed? Like, how do you find that being more involved with something that's yours, like this business is an asset, right? This is we essentially traded buying our own home to build this business, and realistically, this business is worth triple what the home we would have bought is worth now anyway. So it's a full-blown asset.
Yeah.
I think you really struggle to see that. It would just look like a job, right? Until you started seeing more about the numbers and the clients, how much we were helping, and the actual value of this brand, right? Not just the company, the brand itself, Three Kings, the life we're changing, and people ringing in asking how Gem and CJ are. Like, it's a full family and stuff. How has that changed how you see life, like seeing the business and changing your aspiration? How has it changed how you sort of view now being the person that used to be, I just want to work and that was it?
Yeah.
How has being more involved in the business changed your outlook to what you want your dream life to kind of look like now?
I can't really put it into words. Like, I don't really, like, I guess I understand it so much more now. I understand. I was never against you having a client meeting at 7 p.m. at night or whatever, but now I understand it more, if that makes sense. And I was never not okay with it. Yeah. But now I'm kind of like, 100%. Like, that's amazing.
I think it's because, like, I've always been about this business, like, passionate, right? And I don't see it as work. Like, I know it's cliched as well, but I don't. And I've shared this with you guys before. My retirement plan isn't to retire with the shares at 50. And like, we do have stuff in the pipeline, but I'll work till I'm 70. I love what I do. I do it every day. I froth it. I've got plans for the business to grow, but I don't want to change what I do. I fucking love it. I can do it from anywhere in the world. I think difference was, and that's provided me, you see, like, I do have ups and downs, but generally I'm very happy when I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm very emotional about the business if things go good or bad. But I don't think, you were very check in, check out kind of worker, especially up in towns, where it's in your job's your job. You know what I mean? You work and you come home. But I've seen now, that you are probably more accommodating to late meeting stuff because you like it. Like, when you're doing it, like, I'll get back from the gym at like 9 p.m. Gem's not in bed. She'll be up here studying, or she'll be doing fucking accounts. And I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I just wanted to do this instead of watching Gilmore Girls.
But it's also about, like, sharing my time around. I'm not, like, I could be doing other things, but I appreciate, or I genuinely want to do those things at those times. And I know you do too. Like, not like you don't just see clients, you have a million other things you do.
We'll finish dinner and be like, do you want to go to the office after dinner?
It's such a good and bad thing having the office upstairs. But like, it kind of, I understand now, like, why I'm doing that. I understand the benefits or the reason behind why I would go upstairs and study at 9 o'clock at night rather than the next day at 9 a.m. when I have other things to do or other priorities, or if I'm not going to study at 9 a.m. on a Saturday because I want to hang out with CJ.
So let's take some lessons out of this for everyone watching, all three of you. So from, I guess, the start of like, I guess, our relationship, or even just your life in general to where you are now, not just financially, but like from that wealth spectrum. So finance, health, because that's the other thing we don't talk about. Like your whole life is well balanced now. Like money, health, you're training, you're enjoying, like you've just got more enjoyment. So from that, what are some lessons, maybe three lessons, biggest things you can pull out that you've seen has helped yourself or us in general from where you were to where you are now? What are three big standouts?
Three things that I've learned, or three things like
just three? What are the three biggest things you can pluck and to pass on and say, this is what I think, either a lesson?
Yeah. So the number one standout for me is communication.
100%.
So, and what's that saying? It's not just communication, it's interpretation, or it's comprehension, or
something like that.
Something like, it's not just communicating and talking and be like, yeah, we talk all the time, we communicate, because that used to be us as well. Yeah. But actually listening and hearing the other person. And listening it
from their perspective.
Yeah. That's like, so the communication step one, or like the basic, entry level. But then when you actually can comprehend and put into like perspective of what the person's actually saying, is like next level of communication. So, and that's what we had to learn as well, because at the start we were like, we talk, we talk about everything, we talk all the time. Yeah. And then it kind of just stops there.
Especially to the fellas out there, and I don't want to be stereotypical, but it is the most common we see, is most of you earn the money, and then your partner will come over and manage the money, and you pay it off because you earn it. Fucking talk to them, right? Like it's hard. Yeah. Managing the money is difficult. It's stressful.
But not just money, like it's like everything.
Everything, 100%. We're talking about wealth here, which is lifestyle, money, and health. But Three Kings mostly about finance. But the financial conversation usually, if you can talk about money, you can just talk about anything.
But then, like going back to what we were saying before with the Brisbane thing, obviously, the main communication was around the money. Like people say money's everything. It's not everything, but it's a big thing.
That's what I mean. I don't like you got to take money off the pedestal as far as how important it is. It is important, but if you can converse about money, you can converse about anything. It's probably the hardest thing to talk about.
Conversing about it kind of takes the stigma out of it a little 100%. Bit. Like,
and I think it's important with the conversation. Don't think that you just need to converse with each other about money. It's about yourself. It's literally about having a conversation with yourself, with your friends. Like, open up. Talking about money. There's no problem with talking about money. Like I don't understand people. I would love to take the stigma away from people talking about their salaries and stuff. This is why there's a gender pay gap. This is why people get mixed up, is because you don't talk, you have this ego, and guess who put those stipulations on you to stop talking about your money? The people who pay you. So you go talk about it, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason not to, there's no reason not to talk about pay. Don't be embarrassed by it. Money's money. It doesn't matter what you do or how you get it or how much you get. If you start talking about it, it brings it into the open, and then you can improve from there.
Yeah.
What else?
Next thing would be, I don't know if you were kind of going down this path, but mental health.
Yeah.
So you say a lot, and I 100% agree. Like
what do I say a lot? I say a lot.
You can kind of do that. Like the wealth side of things. And the
psychology.
What did you say? Wealth is health. Wealth is health. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. But the
your money is 50% psychological. That's what I always say.
But if you've got issues, everyone's got issues. But if you've got things that you haven't addressed in your head, then and figured out how things stem down and why you think the way you think about certain things, then that will more than likely stem back to your relationship with money a lot of the time.
100%.
So
one of the best investments you can make is what?
Yeah. What?
One of the best investments you can make is what? You say it all the time.
Yourself.
No.
Mental health.
Yeah, what about it? What is one of the best things you've done?
CSI. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. You and I are both, like, it's no secret, we're both huge advocates for mental health. Like I'm literally about to go to a psych appointment in an hour or whatever. Like we check in with ourselves and hold ourselves accountable. Like one of the first and foremost things.
And if you want to get on top of your money, like this is why this triangle, this is why this triangle is so important, is if your health's not addressed, let's just say from a weight perspective, you're going to be eating more than you should. that's going to cost you more in groceries and takeaway, right? If mental health not okay, you might have addiction issues, right? Gambling, drugs, alcohol, smoking, whatever. That's going to cost you more, right?
Yeah.
There's so many, they intertwine so well. And then lifestyle wise, if you're not on top of those, you're not going to live for a long time, first and foremost, being healthy, but also you're not going to have the money to travel and do the things you want. So they intertwine so well. And it is very important. If you are not, you can't expect how many rich people do you know that are miserable, right? That are still depressed, the actors that still kill themselves, that kind of stuff. Like, you need to, it's a balance. You need to get on top of them to be able to improve one or the other. They're levers that you need to pull to make it.
That would be like stereotypical money isn't everything scenario. Like, and it's like a full circle. Like they might
triangle or a circle, Gemma?
They might be the richest person ever, but like you said, really unhappy, and that's a mental health thing.
And that's because their balance is weighted on money, not on the health side of it. You've got to balance it. What's the last
one? I would say like lifestyle, like fitness stuff.
As in health in general.
As in health, yeah.
Yeah, so mental and physical health.
So wealth, health.
Wealth,
health, and mental health.
Perfect. Well, for me, that's good. That's good. For me, it'll be I agree on the communication, without doubt. Both with yourself spiritually, mentally, and with your partner if you've got one. But also just with friends and colleagues, that kind of stuff.
Well, and family as well. Like 100%. if you've got a family member or your family relationship is really damaged around money, victimized, etc., and that's how you were brought up. Like,
I think it's important to change the communication to transparent communication and honest. Most of the money conversation they pop up when people start bragging and bullshitting about their money, like just start being honest. Like, I love it. I go to events with other financial advisors and they all sit there and talk so much out of their ass about how well they're doing, and I'm like, I'm struggling with this, and this, and then next thing you know, everyone's struggling with the same shit. Everyone's full of shit.
Yeah, because no one wants people to know their struggle.
We're such a social media society that if you can't post it on social media and get likes, we don't talk about it. Fuck that off. Start talking to each other, our friends, family, and be honest. Like, be honest about it. There's no money's money. Money is not who you are. It doesn't define who you are. It shouldn't define who you are. But if you don't talk about it, it's like we say, if you don't track, you can't improve. If you don't talk about it, you're not going to be able to improve it because you're just lying to yourself and everyone else, and no one's going to be able to help you because they'll think you're doing great. Second one for me is definitely agree on the physical and mental health, more so just about psychological, like getting on top of that triangle, right? So it's definitely the balance of that triangle. Like how much I've struggled in this whole time. Probably the biggest struggles I've had is where I swing too far to one way. Like when my work's doing really well, training suffers and family suffers and vice versa, which I really struggle to balance it. And
you definitely wouldn't be alone with that.
No, 100%.
Balance is hard.
100%. But I think where the balance struggles is when you get tunnel vision on a certain aspect and you don't check yourself. You need to make time to check yourself. You need to make time to reassess where everything is. So sometimes you get too deep. You think, no, I'm okay. Yeah. You're all the way in, and then it becomes very hard to come back out. So just check, take time to analyze and assess from a financial situation, from a health perspective. And if you can afford it, this is where this is probably the biggest benefit professionals, whether you have a PT, a nutrition coach, a psychologist, you have a financial advisor, that kind of stuff. The biggest benefit is they can check in for you, right? So they have KPIs and they can say, hey, you've fallen a bit behind, you've changed a bit. When you try and do it yourself, it's a lot on your plate. But again, it does cost you money to have professionals around you. But if you can, that's one of the big benefits that they have.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just going to cut you off there. I think, like, if you feel like you don't want to, you might disagree, but take that step or outlay that money or whatever. At least have some kind of person you would look up to or mentor or something about, like, to kind of start you off. Someone that you idolize for, fitness or something like that. Or if someone just wants to kind of follow along on your Instagram or something before they kind of, you know what I mean? You can't, some people might struggle to just like jump in and outlay money. And I'm not saying it's not important or it's not worth it, but maybe take the steps. Maybe take the steps, or like I follow people for like mental health on Instagram.
Yeah, definitely.
I pick little bits.
It can be hard because there's a lot of full of shit people that don't know what they're talking about. But I would say that you're right. There is kind of stages. Stage one is trying to keep yourself accountable, and you can have systems for that. You can have like a budget spreadsheet. You can have set time aside each week to meditate or whatever. There's ways you can keep yourself accountable. But if you struggle with that, then the next one is 100%. You can, 100%. It could be a friend though. You could even have it like, they say surround yourself with whatever, that shit. Have friends that are trying to grow as well and keep each other accountable. It doesn't have to be a mentor, it doesn't have to be someone that potentially could be full of shit on social media showing the good stuff, but it could be that as well, right? I think the bottom line is if you're not going to pay for a professional, surround yourself with some, and you can't do it yourself, find some people, like-minded people that you can keep each other accountable, and just keeping accountable isn't about sitting down and ticking numbers. It can just be having a conversation.
Yeah.
Just talking about it. That's why I think the stigma behind opening up needs to reduce. The last one for me is my favorite, always will be, is being conscious, right? The thing that changed my life the most in all aspects, in particular money, was going from an unconscious state to a conscious state. So, and I say this to every client, I post about it all the time, was just simply going, stop living my life in a way that was winging it. Stop budgeting, just saving for the sake of saving or investing for anything like that, and actually putting purpose behind everything. And every time we do something, we make the conscious decision that we want to do this. And we don't care how, we go out for a dinner, we'll spend $500, but we know that that's what we're going to do. We go out for a night out, we might spend $1,000. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is, before we do it, is being conscious of doing it so that we don't look back and regret it later on. And I think that's changed my life the most, financially, health-wise, everything, since probably the last decade. 100% being conscious, that's sort of where I sit.
Yeah.
All right.
So you mean like aware?
Being aware, yeah, making
not
the decision.
Just being like, oh yeah, I'll worry. Future me will worry about it.
Yeah, even like the biggest one that changed was when I moved from the city to back out here, like working in the city, and I was getting 2-3 coffees a day. And I just wasn't enjoying the coffees anymore because it was just a habit. And then you might remember we stopped and we'd go out for a coffee on the weekend and have a sit down coffee. So we not only we save $50 a week, but I enjoyed that coffee so much more because it was special. It was a thing,
And you didn't stop. Well, you obviously stopped because your lifestyle stopped with not working in the city, but it wasn't a financial thing. It wasn't like I'm going to stop so I can say this.
It was just an added benefit.
Obviously, benefit, but 100%
But that was me. It's not about, a lot of people want to do decisions based on the money. Oh, I'm going to stop that because it costs too much. Stop looking at costs and start looking at value, right? If I'm spending $10 on something and I hate it, that's a way worse expense than something I spend $1,000 and I love it, right? But most people go, no, 10 versus 1,000, you've got to do the $10 one. It's irrelevant, right? It's about the value and being conscious of the happiness that brings you.
Yeah.
All right, we're pretty much up. But the last one I'll know is what's from here? What's the plan look like for you? What are you planning?
No goals.
No goals. What are you hoping, or what are you looking for?
Look, coming part of Three Kings, obviously you like, I'm part of it. Like I'm all in, but you've got the big picture of Three Kings, obviously. But for me, I'd like my career is going to change up a little bit in the future. So
don't take any, don't look into this.
Not in the near future, but at some stage in the future, which I think is healthy. Like, whether it was something else or this, change is good. And so that would include more involvement with Three Kings. We have plans for our family to grow if possible. We're going to buy maybe not our forever home, but our first home at some stage in the near future. But that's a bit of an unknown. We're putting our feelers out for where that might want to be. So they're kind of just some bits and pieces for now. That's as far as I can look into the future.
What about your health journey and stuff?
I have a coach, shout out to Hustler.
Shout out Big Muscles.
Shout out to Marcus. So he and I are working through some goals. I won't go into that, but yeah, I do have some fitness goals, which is not like
8 weeks out,
which is not like me at all. Like, that's a big thing. I've always kind of, I might go to gym or do whatever, just like it does make me feel good, but I never really had a purpose behind it. Now I have a purpose, thanks to Marcus. So yeah, I've got some things like that, but yeah, it's me. Just
being the best mum she can be.
Yeah. Boss mum.
Yeah, we're obviously got the same sort of goals. For me, I got the growing the Three Kings business. I've got about 9 or 10 other businesses I'm trying to launch this year-ish.
You love a finger in a pie?
I love it. I love a finger.
Stop. You cut that out.
Nah, it's going
That's cut out.
That is the cover video.
Wow.
The trailer to this. And then we are buying 1 or 2 houses in the next couple of years, probably the next 12 months. We get the first one. Depends on where the market goes, whether we go for the dream or whether we go for the backup first. And then obviously second bub along the way, second of 7. 42. We're gonna be the 7 kings soon.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably only have to. And then we'll be looking at schooling, which will be a big thing around, a massive thing around where we buy our forever home as well.
Yeah.
More racehorses. Shout out to Lucy and Jason, aka. Hopefully Mirror Model gets up again. And then I think that's pretty much it. Like health-wise for me, I won't have a fight, but just moving forward with the flight training. I'm so sore every day. Might decide to start doing some jiu-jitsu and get some belts. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it from us. It's to keep growing, keep moving. That's episode 1 of the Wealth Cartel relaunch fund.
I'm hurt.
Do that way.
Yeah, well, I was expecting that way, but
I was just trying to throw a hook. All right, peace out. Thanks for listening.
See ya.